Hey VC, it's Jonathan, a cheap and cheerful record collector. Decided to do two videos today. Decided two short videos are better than one long video. Like I said before, I've been doing a lot of digging and been fairly successful. These all are finds from Goodwill. I think they're all $2 each, some were $1 each. We got a couple of Goodwills in our neighborhood. Some have risen their price to $2, $3, $4, $5. But two of them still sell them at $1, so it's a mixture of them here. But still, everything's very cheap. First one I got is a guy who I'm not really don't really love, but I figured I'd try this one because it's really old. It's Neil Diamond, Do It on Bang Records. Bang Records, if you don't know, was a label in the late 60s, early 70s. There's actually a great documentary called Bang, the Burt Burns story, which is a documentary about the formation of Bang Records. This guy, Burt Burns, I guess he worked for Atlantic and spun off and did Bang Records. He found Van Morrison with them. He found Neil Diamond, etc. So this is a pretty good record, actually. Some interesting things. I mean, he wrote, and is on here, is Solitary Man, Red Red Wine, I'm a Believer. Those are all songs that Neil wrote. Love the label for Bang Records. Got to show the label because it's cool as can be. There's the Bang label. And the only thing about this record is so weird. This is released in 1971. And if you listen to this record without having any idea, you would think it's 1961. Not the recording is bad, it just sounds so dated. And especially for 1971. Just the way the production, the way it's put together, just sounds dated. But Bang Records, Neil Diamond, Do It. Next one I found is another group I didn't know, but I put it on one of my Facebook groups and everybody said, oh, they're great, great. And you know what? They are pretty great. The Beat, 1979, and this was on Columbia. And just power pop, straight ahead power pop. And they're great. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So this is definitely going to be in heavy rotation. Another one is a band I didn't have any records of and figured a compilation is always a good way to get them into your group. And it is Hall & Oates Rock and Soul Part 1. And has a lot of classic songs on it. There's the label, which is a pretty cool label, like that. And Sarah Smile, She's Gone, Rich Girl, Private Eyes, Maneater, One on One. So, good compilation in really clean condition for $1 or $2. Hard to say no. Next one is another one that was just a blind buy, and they can't all be winners, you know? You give it a shot, you never know what's going to happen. This is Gowan, which I did not realize was in Styx. And I'm not a real fan of Styx and wasn't a real fan of this record. So I'm going to give it another spin just to confirm my first thoughts. But I think this is going to end up going into the bye-bye pile. Not a fan of overproduced rock. I like more of the straight up, give me 2 guitars, a bass and drums and just churn it out. I'm not a big fan on the overproduced stuff. Next album is really dear to my heart. This is stuff I grew up with in the 60s. And this is the great folk singers of the 60s. And this is really what I cut my teeth on. Great picture of a Newport Folk Festival. And this is a great compilation from Vanguard. Has everybody from Ian and Sylvia, Joan Baez, Country Joe and the Fish, Richard and Mimi Farina, Phil Oakes, Doc Watson, John Hammond, Ramblin' Jack Elliott, Mississippi John Hurt, Tom Paxton, Bob Dylan, Paul Butterfield. I mean, it's got everybody. New Lost City Ramblers. So a great compilation. Real happy to have it. All right. Next is one I saw, and I have never seen an album by this woman. She really is an early innovator of rock and roll, even though she was strictly gospel. And it's Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And this was from the late 60s, early 70s, if I remember right. It is straight gospel. There's no rock and roll on here. There's no secular music on the great Omega Disc, love that label. But her singing, and she plays guitar, also plays electric guitar. Her guitar playing and singing are just out of this world. And if you ever see anything, or you look on YouTube, there's some videos of Sister Rosetta Tharpe playing guitar and singing. And you hear her play guitar, you know that Chuck Berry and everybody else listened to her before they started playing. She's just great. Here's a record, also a blind buy I picked up. Knew nothing about it, but for $1 or $2, I figured I'd give it a shot. It's called Acres for Cents. And I didn't know any of these bands. Turns out it's a compilation from England on Zippo Records, and has bands such as the Windbreakers, Evan Jones and the H-Bombs, True West, the Tailgaters, Danny and Dusty, Wild Seeds, the Long Riders. Turns out most of these bands are from the United States. A lot of them from Austin, 1 or 2 from Arizona. Right up there. I love this record. This is great. Rockabilly, straight up country, straight up rock and roll. I mean, just wonderful stuff. Only 1 or 2 clunkers out of the whole album. I particularly like the Tailgaters from Austin, Mumbo Jumbo, Thin White Rope from Moonhead, True West, do a song called Back Road Bridge Song. Just great stuff. So introduced me to a lot of new stuff, which is why I sort of like compilations. You end up finding bands that you never knew existed, and it's sort of fun. Next one is pretty typical, but has one special thing about it. The Chet Atkins album. I got a lot of Chet Atkins. This is music from Nashville, my hometown. But Chet actually makes an attempt to sing on one of these songs. I say makes an attempt because not really much of a singer, but great picking throughout the whole album. So happy to have this in my Chet Atkins collection. He does the first song, Prancin' Philly, is just great picking on that one. Sidewalks in Nashville, Ain't We Got Fun, which everybody knows, Lonesome Road. So it's sort of fun. And again, Chet Atkins, one of the great pickers of all time. Next one I picked up just because I don't have it, and I'm a big fan, is Paul Simon. This is Live Ryman. I think this is from the late 70s. 74, early 70s. Basically, it's a solo concert album, but it does feature as Orabama and the Jesse Dixon Singers sing back up on a couple of the songs, but has all the stuff that you know by Paul Simon. Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard, The Boxer, American Tune, Mother and Child Reunion, Loves Me Like a Rock, Bridge Over Troubled Waters, Sounds of Silence, Homeward Bound, America. So I thought it was really good. Nice live album. Next one I was really excited to see. It didn't turn out as great as I expected. This is Delbert McClinton, and this is Feeling All Right. I never saw it or heard of it. I saw on the back it says Made in West Germany, so I figured it's German pressing. It's got to be good. Didn't know a lot of the songs on it, but I love Delbert. Unfortunately, it sounds like a bad bootleg. Not a good recording at all. I'm going to keep it because it's Delbert, and the performances sort of shine through the terrible recording, but it was sort of disappointment because when you see Made in Germany, you always go, oh, German pressing, it's got to be good. Not always. My next 2 records are for the same group. I had seen this album. I never bought it. I knew nothing about them, and it turned out to be not what I expected. When you see an album like this, a band called Lighthouse, and their other album is this one, Thoughts on Moving On, and this is One Fine Morning, you figure it's going to be Psych. It's 1971, 72. Figure it's going to be early Psych. Should be really good. It's more Chicago meets Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I gave him a spin. Not a fan. I'm going to give him another spin before I put him in the go-away pile, but I was disappointed. I really thought it was going to be Psych, and it's not. It's horn-heavy, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Chicago kind of thing. So, what are you going to do? He pays you money, he takes your chances. The last one I picked up recently, don't have any much. I won by this musician, and I like jazz, so Wynton Marsalis. and this is Black Codes from the Underground. It's okay. It's waiting. It's sort of easy to take, and certainly not challenging jazz, but as my friend calls it, museum jazz, stuff they play in museums. It's not bad. It's definitely worth keeping. So that's my recent picks. I got some more coming up. I got a lot more to show, but I'm going to wait probably next week after I get back. Taking a little journey, so we'll be gone for about a week or so. When I get back, I'll do another video of some of the other more recent stuff I picked up. Hope you enjoyed these 2 videos from today. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe down below. And until next time, peace.